Welcome to the latest edition of Altrincham Talks, the Business Edit. Today we're joined by Kirsten Bennett from Lund Bennett Law, who are based in Altrincham. Welcome,
Thank you.
Kirsten.
Thank
How are
you.
you?
I'm good, thank you. It's a little bit chilly out there today, but I'm good.
It's not overly warm in here, neither is it? Really, if truth be known. So we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about your background, your journey into law, about Lund Bennett and what the future holds, and a little bit about the town of Altrincham as well. So let's start with you. How did you come to be a lawyer?
Gosh, feels like it was a long time ago now. So it was just, I suppose the passion was ignited from quite an early age. I did some work experience in the law, really enjoyed it. And then when it was time to decide what degree I wanted to do, I decided law. I give it a go, and I guess the rest is history. It just went from there.
And did you work for another practice before you found
yes.
Lund?
Yeah, so I trained at a firm in North Manchester, and then moved to a firm in South Manchester, and then, settled Lund Bennett.
And has it always been family law? Or
Always been family.
When you're actually training to be a lawyer, do you do all the different aspects of law, or do you specialise straight away in one area?
Yeah, no, you do different seats. So you get exposure to different areas of law. But I suppose when I was training, I was pigeonholed a little bit into family, and actually it suited me because it suited my skill set. I loved working with people, and from there it's always been family. I come back.
So obviously family is the one that you love the best. Which one, when you were training, was the one that you liked the least?
Personal injury.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
Hands down, yeah. Definitely.
So you worked for a practice in South Manchester.
Yeah.
What was the trigger then? What prompted you to sort of go, well, I want to do this with our own firm?
I suppose, gosh, I mean, it was 13 years ago, so it was a long time ago. Now it feels like a long time ago. I guess at the time, myself and my former business partner, she's now retired now, we saw a gap in the market, I guess. At the time, there weren't a lot of specialist family law firms. And so we decided that's what we'd do. We talked about it very briefly and then went for it.
So the Lund in Lund Bennett is your former
business partner. She's now retired. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you decided to keep the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you first started out, was it just you two, or did you quickly get a team of people, or did you?
It was just the two of us. We had a secretary as well, and then we've grown it. I've now got solicitors, paralegals, a secretary.
How many people in the practice?
6 now.
6.
Yeah. We've got a great team, a really close knit team, and I'm very proud of everyone. I'm lucky. Everything, the practice. It's not just about the law and it's about the people, and I am very proud. I've got a nice team.
You have a massive impact on the people that you're working with, don't you?
Yeah, we absolutely do. Yeah, we really do, actually. From the moment they walk into the office until the moment that the case is finished, we are a constant part of their lives, and they rely on us a lot. Yeah.
And in terms of advice for, I don't need specific advice, but for advice for people who are going through challenging situations, you often hear stories about people saying, well, if you'd only come to us sooner.
Yeah.
Is there a point where you would say, right, now's the time, or is it just come and just have a chat, just get some advice? What would you say to people who are in those kind of situations?
Well, the best time is before you get married.
You're talking about prenuptial agreements here.
Yeah, and also I think, a lot of people, they don't realise what they're signing up to, it's all romantic, which is lovely, but actually the day you get married, you have a lot of obligations that are conferred upon you that you're actually not aware of. So the ideal time would be, before you get married. If you don't do that, before separation, actually. So you just know how to prepare yourself, what's coming.
Yeah.
Should you be doing anything before you actually go your separate ways? So, that would be the second best time, just before you separate.
So what we could do with is a little handbook that says, this is what you're letting yourself in for before you get married.
Yeah, and if you still want to do it...
go ahead. But if you do decide to, before you separate, this is what you're letting yourself in for if you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There must be all sorts of different stories that you could tell, but you can't tell.
Yeah, we hear everything. Absolutely everything.
Is prenup agreements a big thing nowadays for
They are definitely, growing in popularity. Yeah, they are. They are not. They're not binding in the sense that they are in America, but they are a factor that the court will take into consideration. And as long as the courts are satisfied that both parties had obtained legal advice, and there's a number of other criteria that should be met, disclosure, neither parties under any kind of influence or pressure, and the agreement's fair. That's the overriding thing. It has to be fair. And it's likely that the parties will be held to it. Yeah. So even if the parties aren't held to it to the T, the court will take it into consideration.
It will have an influence on the decision of the court when they're looking at things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And is that the main part of what you do? Does it tend to be around splitting of assets and things like that when people are separating and divorcing? Obviously, there's children as well, and you can never call them an asset, but who, custody and all that kind of thing. Is that the bulk of what you do as a practice?
Yeah, we're seeing definitely divorce, the finances that surround that, the children arrangements as well, which is obviously quite sad. And cohabitation, we're seeing, again, a kind of an increase in cohabitation inquiries. People who've lived together for a long time and then they separate, what their rights are. It's very different. Very different to when people are married.
We could do a podcast just about that.
We absolutely could, yeah. So cohabitation, divorce, finances, and children. That's the kind of the bulk of our work. Yeah, and obviously nuptial agreements as well.
It's a sad indictment on society that we actually need people like Lund Bennett, isn't it? It's an absolutely essential part of that process. Yeah, it's a shame that you must see some very, very sad stories. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we really, really do, actually. And it can be quite challenging because people, as I say, when they come to see us, they're most vulnerable. But a lot of people that haven't been through this before, they don't know where to start. They don't know how to navigate themselves through the process. There's so much going on. And obviously we're here to support them and guide them through that process. Now, you mentioned that you've gone from just the two of you and a secretary up to 6 of you now. Was that always by design, or was it just a sort of natural, we need somebody else to do that?
Well, we've grown, and we've increased the work that comes through the door, and that's very much come from reputation, word of mouth. But we've also recently become a selected service provider for the Police Federation.
Right.
So we do quite a lot of work for police officers. That work started in Merseyside. And now we've grown nationally. So we've got a federation down Norfolk, Suffolk, kind of nationwide now.
Do they do that? Do they come up to see you? Do you go down to see them, or do you do it all via Zoom?
So with the ones that are a little bit further afield, we'll do this via Zoom. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Excellent. So like any other business, you've got the operational side. So you need your solicitors and your paralegals and people like yourself. What have you got in place in the business in terms of the other functions within the business? Because you're still relatively small at this point.
Yeah.
Do you have anything outside of your core functions? Do you all take responsibility for the other functions within the business, like marketing and sales, or do you have somebody specialising in that area now?
I do a lot of it, and my colleague, I've got another partner now, actually, Charlotte. So she does a lot of the business development, the marketing. We've got somebody else who does the kind of the business side of things. So we've all got a function, but a lot of it, falls on me, which is challenging, because actually I came into the law and the family law specifically, because I love that aspect. I love working with people, and that's what I really want to do.
That's what your marketing
does. But exactly. But you find yourself on a daily basis having to wear all these different hats, and that can be quite challenging sometimes.
So what does the future hold for Lund Bennett then, in terms of the next 5 years? What you see?
It's 5 years. Well, hopefully we'll continue to grow. We're looking at taking on more staff, which is great. Getting more police federations and just growing, bringing more work through the door and just improving,
What do you think will be the biggest challenge in all of that, do you think?
There's always challenges, isn't there? You've got economic challenges, there's a whole range of things, really. I suppose the biggest challenge for me is that it's making sure that we've got the right people, looking after our clients. gosh. And it's just, everything's a challenge in terms of the business, keeping it growing, keeping it going.
I think for most of the business owners that we see, and as a business coach, obviously I'm talking to business owners. They are truly technically they're experts in their own field, as you are. We have other people in different, whether it's accountancy, whether we've just been talking to a baker. Technically, they're brilliant in whatever it is that they do. And then running a business is a different kettle of fish. It's being an expert in running a business, because you've trained for years to be a great lawyer, and you'll be continuing to train, I assume, and doing those CPD kind of things. Being a business owner is a different skill set, and it's something that when I talk to people, I often ask them how many years experience or how many years of learning and development have you done to be a business owner, and they go, well, I haven't really, just learned as we've been going along.
Exactly.
And as a business is growing and scaling, there are other things that you need to learn, HR, dealing with people, marketing, as you said, you've marketing sort of expertise and qualification in the past, you've learned as you've been going along, sales, being a great salesperson, all those other things around that need somehow to be encompassed within a business. So it's really important as you grow that you begin to get that expertise either internally or externally. Otherwise, you end up in the owner's trap and then end up doing everything.
Exactly. And that's a full-time job in itself, just running the business, and that doesn't then make an allowance for all the other things I need to do and I want to do, servicing my clients and making sure that they're happy and providing that level of service. So that is a big challenge, making sure that I'm on top of everything else, as well as doing what I love doing. But that is a full-time job, and as you say, that's not what I was trained in. I wasn't trained to become a marketing manager. I wasn't trained to do all the business development. But you do born into that trap. Yeah,
and it's often the case where people have got a real passion for what they do. As you do. To see while we're talking, doing the other stuff is almost, it's
a necessary evil.
It's a necessary evil, as you say. And people see it that way, although it's vital to the growth of the business as well as you move forward. So the more you do, the better you are at all that kind of stuff, or the better the business is, I should say, all that kind of stuff. The more people you can help.
And I've also got to keep on top of the change in the law as well, so it's constant all the time.
I can imagine. So why did you choose to be in Altrincham?
Altringham's a great place, isn't it? It's such a brilliant town to be in. I think it was actually by chance, and we were so fortunate we made the decision. And as I said before, we were in a practice in South Manchester. And we didn't want to be too close to that practice, so we moved. We moved into Altrincham, and it was just before Altrincham had the revival. And so I remember, because we actually started off of Market Street, so my office at the time looked out onto the market. So I remember when the market was actually a market,
right?
Selling the bags, and people would go into the actual market hall for bits and bobs. And then not that long after we set up, we saw that it closed and then reopened as this amazing eatery. And ever since we've been in Altrincham, it's just grown from strength. It's gone from strength to strength. So many more businesses are moving in. The bid obviously has been great. I'm a director, I sit on the board, which is great, so I get to see what's happening. But I do think the bids had a lot to do with the improvement and the continuing improvement of Altrincham.
I mean, obviously the bid itself, and we're on the bid podcast, it's funded by the businesses of Altrincham, and it's got two main sort of parts to its vision, if you will, and one is to bring more footfall into the town to the benefit of businesses within the town, and also to make it a more attractive place for people to want to come and visit and to work in. So it's to the benefit of the businesses again. They can attract better quality employees because of the town where they're coming to live and work. So I think it's doing a great job, and there's so much good stuff going on around the bid as well.
There's always so much good. It's brilliant, and the girls at the bid, they work so hard. And we all benefit. As you say, it's the increased footfall, and people want to come and work in Altrincham now. It's a really trendy place to be, So I think, yeah, the bid's been fantastic. And I'm so pleased they got another term. I know.
I think everybody is.
I think everybody was relieved when the results of the vote came in. Yeah.
So you say you're looking to grow, you're looking to attract more employees in at the moment?
Yeah. But, it's getting the right staff as well, because I want to make sure whoever comes in is right for the business, and they fit into the business, and they're able to provide those levels of service as well.
What would you say sets Lund Bennett apart from the other family law practices that are out there? Because there's quite a few around the area, around the Northwest. What would you say is it that attracts people to you? What do they say about you?
Well, I'd like to think it's the service levels that sets us apart. I mean, firstly, we only specialise in family law, so I think that's first and foremost one of the most important things. We only specialise in family law, so that when you come to us, all our lawyers are family law specialists. Yes. But then secondly, we pride ourselves in offering the service levels to the client and make sure that they feel well looked after, they're well advised, and they're well supported through the process.
It's a difficult time for everybody, so having that support and relationship is really important.
Yeah. No, it is a really, really difficult time, and for us, yes, it's a job, but it's people's lives.
Yeah.
And just making sure that that's always at the forefront is our aim.
And is Lund Bennett a 24/7 passion for you, or have you got stuff that you do outside of business?
It's a 24/7 passion, but yeah, I'm hugely into my keep fit. So not so much, unfortunately, this year, but in previous years, I have done quite a few triathlons.
Wow.
So that's and I would like to get back into that next year. It's been a bit of a crazy year this year, but with one thing and another. So triathlon, cycling, love cycling as well.
Wow, where do you find the time?
And I make time for for me, that's my release. When I'm training, that is my release, and I need that.
It starts you thinking about different things, and when you're not in a work mode, your mind clears and you can start getting new ideas.
Completely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. You kind of your mind, it's like it's a reset, and you think more clearly, I think.
I did a half marathon once, like 25 years ago, but I couldn't run for a bus now. Honestly, couldn't run for a bus, definitely not. So I'm in awe of everything that you do.
Oh well, I'm in awe of what some people achieve. It is incredible, but yeah, for me, it's nice. I think aside from work, to always have something else. Because otherwise you just get sucked into it, and you have no release, and I need that release.
Well, you're still obviously quite a youngster anyway, but if you had some advice for your younger self, maybe when you were 18 and 19, just going into university, just deciding what you wanted to do, what would it be for people who were at that stage now?
So starting university, or kind of think about the business?
Yeah, well, thinking about what they want to do as they move on, particularly somebody in your field, in the field of law, what advice would you give somebody who's just starting out?
Follow your dreams. I think I've spoken to quite a lot of kind of people who've graduated and they've never felt. I suppose that, a lot of them feel they have imposter syndrome. Am I good enough for this? Yeah. And actually, you are good enough. You just have to work hard, keep your head down, and keep going. It's so rewarding. And obviously, I'm fortunate enough to set up my own business, which is incredibly rewarding. But I think, for young people starting out, just follow your dreams. What's the worst that can happen? And I'm a big believer in fate. And if it doesn't work out, try something else. You go again, you try something else,
And Lund Bennett's been around for how many years now?
13.
13 years. Yeah. So you've been managing director for 13 years of a business. If you had advice for other people who were running their businesses, whether they're in law or outside of law, what would be a best piece of advice for somebody who's a managing director of another business?
Just not to lose sight of why you started out, I guess. What is it that brought you to this place, and try not to lose your passion. How can you keep that passion ignited, and keep loving doing what you're doing, because that's we work for a lot of hours a day and for a lot of years of our life, so you need to make the most of it.
I think what you said about not losing sight of why you started the business in the first place, the passion that you have for something is really important. Because I think sometimes people almost go into business for themselves by accident.
Yeah.
You know, they've worked for somebody else and they've seen the nice car and posh and things that people have, and they decide that they want to earn some of that money for themselves, or they're getting made redundant, or there's something else happens, they fall out of love with whatever they were doing, and they decide to go into business for themselves. But it just becomes another job. They bought themselves a job rather than buying a business and a passion.
Yeah.
So understanding where they want to get to, what the passion is, the why, really, why
Exactly, yeah.
the vision for the business is really important, because if you don't know where you're going, how are you ever going to get there?
Yeah.
You know, I would say. And if you've got people coming into the business when you get tough times, you know, because you'll have times where you're working very long hours and you're working hard and you sort of go, why are we doing this? If you've got that sort of North Star, that guiding light, it becomes so much easier then. You have to do it, so you know exactly why you're doing it. It's sort of like training. If you're training for a triathlon,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, you've got to be. You're never going to get the best results from staying inside your comfort zone. So you're going to be working really hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got to understand why you're doing it. And it's so you can complete that.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be prepared to, kind of, you know, face those challenging moments. And as you say, you don't lose sight of why you went into it, and try to keep that passion going, because that comes across as well. I think, especially in my work, and my love for what I do, I hope comes across with my clients.
Good. So if we've got people out there who are listening to this, maybe they're in a difficult situation and they're either thinking about separation or going through it, or they're going through a divorce, so they've got children involved in a situation and they want to know the best way to deal with it. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you and Lund Bennett?
I think on our website, so that's lundbennett.co.uk.
Yeah.
Or they can drop us an email at info@lundbennett.co.uk.
info@lundbennett.co.uk. And can people come and just see you at the offices, or do they need to make it?
Ideally to make an appointment. Yeah. It's very, very rarely we're just available. So make an appointment. Exactly. Yeah.
And you're on the Downs, I think?
We're on the Downs. Yeah. And the 9 the Downs. Yeah, in Altrincham. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. Kirsten, it's been lovely to talk to you.
Thank you so much. It's been so nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing the next part of Lund Bennett's story.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward
Stay
to
tuned.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.